I have solved the reaction meta. I'm proud of myself for doing it as well. First of all, we must discuss what the problem is, and then I will tell you how I have solved it. Reaction content. Is it ethical? Is it non-ethical? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it allowed? Is it not allowed? Who knows? Allow me to explain. Most people say, oh, but when this big streamer reacts to a small streamer, the small streamer gets paid in exposure. Okay? There's definitely an argument to be made there. There's no denying that. You are bringing a lot of eyes to content that they may not have seen before. However, as mountain climbers say, you tend to die of exposure. And because I've worked in theatre and entertainment a long time, I've been offered to be paid in exposure for almost every job I've ever done. And the annoying thing is that up until, still hasn't happened, my landlord has still not taken exposure as payment, which is very irritating. I think the issue is when big streamers, and people will shout at me, hypocrite, you've benefited from Asmongold reacting to you. Yes, I have. I'll acknowledge those benefits immediately. I can acknowledge the benefits of a system that I've been part of while also decrying the negatives of that system. In fact, it would be incredibly shallow of me if I didn't do that. I should absolutely talk about how I've benefited while talking about how others will suffer. So when a big streamer reacts to a small streamer, or when a big YouTuber reacts to a small YouTuber, there is a payment in exposure. But what I think there also is, there is this kind of pre-written acceptance or pre-expected idea that the exposure is payment enough. And the small streamer would never ever say no to that exposure. There's never a question asked. There's never the big streamer going to the small streamer and saying, hey, can I react to your video on stream? Would that be okay? And then the person says, yeah, that's fine. I think a lot of these conversations need to happen because a lot of the problems in society in general could probably be solved with a very honest, frank, genuine, humble conversation between two people. If the streamer simply says, hey, can I react to your stuff? That conversation has to happen. There is this expectation that you can just react to anyone's video and they have to be fine with that because you are paying them in exposure. But you're not really paying them in exposure. You're just giving them exposure that you happen to have. You're not losing anything yourself. And that's one of the big things. Normally, when you pay someone for something, you lose something for them to then have that thing. That is the exchange of value. The reactor isn't losing anything. What really gets to me, and this is what people will jump at me and say, oh, but it should be fine, you should be okay with it. When you're producing content, whether it's theatre, acting, music, films, drawing, whatever you want, you normally have to choose between quality and quantity. Now, quality takes time. It's difficult to create good art. It takes a long time. Personally, if I'm making a video, I've got to play the entire game, then I've got to take a load of notes while I do it, then I've got to turn those notes into a script, I've got to write the script out, I've got to record the script voiceover, I've got to take all the breaths out of the script voiceover, I've then got to upload it. Whoever is creating content deserves a lot of respect because it's difficult to create something from an original idea. It's difficult to create something from nothing, and that's why you'll see really good content creators put out maybe a video a month, maybe a video every 2 months if you try really hard, maybe a video a week. But you have to choose between quality and quantity. There is literally no way at all you can put out an incredibly well-researched, well-scripted, well-edited, high-quality video every day. Even a team of people would struggle to do that. Most content creators have to choose, if they are creating original work, between quality and quantity. When reaction content gets involved, they are the only channels who don't need to choose between quality and quantity because they're reacting to other people's quality videos, but doing it at a great quantity. That's what gets people. That's why whenever I see a video that I've spent weeks working on, and I've made a half-hour video or a 40-minute video, and someone else has reacted to it, maybe it's Asmongold, maybe it's somebody else, and they've created a longer video because they have to pause mine and add their own input. As soon as they've done that, they just move on to another, and another, and another, and another. I spent weeks on that. And I'm glad that people are seeing it. I'm glad that you appreciate it. I can understand from an artistic point of view that I've put something out into the world that I'm proud of, but it was simply taken, used, and then moved on. I cannot put content out at that rate. I can't do it. Nobody can. It's very, very difficult to do. So what people are annoyed at with reaction creators is, first of all, most of them don't ask. They just assume the exposure is going to be payment enough. And then when the reaction is put out, YouTube has to then decide which video it's going to push to you, the original or the reaction. And I will have an army of people in chat shout at me, I found you via Asmongold. Okay, that's great. I'm glad you're here. I'm not going to throw shade at Asmongold because I think he is a decent person and I've spoke to him before. But what I sometimes do is go onto his reaction channel, his Asmongold TV channel, look at the quantity of videos that he puts out, and I say to myself, what was the last thing that he created from scratch by himself? Not that he reacted to, but the last thing that he sat down and said, right, I am going to create a piece of art that does not currently exist, and I am going to use my own artistic input to create it. That is a difficult thing to do. And any content creator that does that understands the complexity of the process to be able to do that. And one of the reasons is he used to do that all the time. He used to do that. And I'm not saying hate on Asmongold. The guy has been incredibly successful. He seems like a decent person. But I can't keep up with the amount of content that hits his channel compared to hitting mine, because every video that I try and put out is originally created from scratch, which takes absolutely bloody ages. Any reactor taking someone else's video and using it as content is choosing the quality of their video and the quantity of what they can do. It's a difficult thing to do. How do I compete? Because the honest truth is, if I can't compete with that kind of YouTube, Twitch meta, I can't keep up. Yeah, fantastic. I think that it's great that other people are able to make, millions of pounds on Twitch and YouTube. I'd love to be able to do that. But it turns out the only way to do that is by taking a lot of other people's videos and just adding your own input to them. So you just kind of sit there, watch, react, move on. Sit there, watch, react, move on. You're more like a curator of content than a creator, if you will. But what if I just watch my own old content back and see if I agree with myself? That can work. I've made this video. Other people are going to watch and react to it. They're going to double dip into my own content. Why don't I just get ahead of them in the game? I'm pretty sure that I've got permission to watch my own videos. Fantastic. Let's do that. I have not watched this video in ages. My opinion has changed. What if I wanted to react to somebody else's video? A video that I think is very well made, a video that I think has a lot of talking points, that I effectively want to sit there, watch, and then re-upload to my own YouTube channel. That would effectively be removing the original video from any, kind of purpose. Why would people watch the original when they could just watch my reaction to it? Okay, well, let's get around that. What if I was to have the creator of that original video on live with me, and I react to it live with them, and then I can talk to them about the video as we go. So it not only becomes a reaction, it almost becomes a podcast. It becomes a director's commentary. It becomes an interview kind of thing. And it will be streamed live on Twitch as well, so you guys will be able to have your questions asked as well. So it would be me reacting to a video with the creator of the original video live, streamed on Twitch as a podcast interview style format, and then re-uploaded to YouTube so people could watch it, and it would be so much longer than the original that it would not remove the purpose of actually going to watch the original. Because that's the process that I'm in the middle of trying to sort out. And I have approached about 20 different content creators, from MMO to RPG to general gaming creators, from relatively small to very, very large. And I've told them this idea, and pretty much all of them are on board with it. People are saying, Dark Viper. You know what? Dark Viper was actually one of the first people I approached with this, because I get on very well with Dark Viper. I said, hey, Viper, can I please react to some of your videos? And he's like, Josh, what? And I'm like, no, don't worry. It's okay. I've got a plan here. I'm not just going to cannibalize your stuff. The plan is that you sit on, Discord with me. We sit chatting, we stream it, we talk about the input, we talk about the output, we talk about the behind the scenes stuff, that kind of thing. I think that'd be really cool to do, because I want to pay the original creator with more than just exposure. I want to say, hey, come on the channel. Let's talk about this. Give me your input. Give me your feelings. Give me your ideas. Talk about this. I will find a way that when people talk about React content, they say, oh, Josh does it right. There's definitely value in it, but I want people to say, oh, that's the right way to do it. Ultimately, platforms need to solve this. But before platforms solve it, we have to solve it ourselves. Yeah, there is value in other people's opinions and input. That is undeniable. What we want to make sure is that the trade-off of added value for taken value is fair. That's what I want it to be. I would say that Asmongold is definitely one of the stronger examples of React content done well. Of all of the kind of people that work out there, he is definitely at the higher tiers of how it works. When you look at people that just put videos on and then walk away and let them play through, that's not reacting. That's babysitting your audience with content that already exists, made by people who actually can make content. And if you want to babysit your audience, that's okay. But personally, I don't really want an audience that needs babysitting. I would rather have an audience that can actually have their own thoughts and ideas and put things in and see when things are fair or not. I think that you've got to add to the conversation. Someone in chat says, Asmon is still stealing views from the original creators. What are you talking about? Urashima, I said that he's one of the better examples. I didn't say that he is the paragon of how it should be done. I believe there are many changes that need to be made into the system, and I intend to make them. I intend to find a way to make them. And until we can affect systemic change, we will affect personal change. And I will have conversations with the people that I want to react to. I will talk about how it's going to benefit them through exposure and, importantly, through direct financial contribution. That's going to be the way to do it. So a lot of these problems can be solved with a conversation.